advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
The Illini go into East Lansing, Michigan, and will face Michigan State, the number 10 ranked team in the country currently, in the next poll, regardless of whether or not they beat or lose to Illinois. They probably will fall down a little bit. Nonetheless, a top 10 ranked matchup on the road once again for this Illini team. And I think this game isn't necessarily the biggest game the Illini have had this season. You could argue maybe it is, but I think this is the game that will have the most storylines going into it. Uh, I mean, the Texas Tech game obviously was their first big game in non-conference. The Alabama game, first big game in a neutral court. Um, then you had Purdue and Nebraska on the road, first big tests on the road. You could argue Iowa was a big test on the road. This game has so many storylines going into it just because dating back to last year, even dating back to previous matchups against Michigan State. I don't want to start this podcast off by declaring that Michigan State is a dirty team, but there's a lot of talk around Jeremy Fears Jr. in his last two games against Michigan and then Minnesota. There are highlighted instances of him being, I don't know, I wouldn't say violent, but definitely non-basketball plays. And then there's now a lot of talk about, well, this Illini team has won 12 in a row. We do kind of control our own destiny in terms of the Big Ten regular season. If you keep winning games, you go into that Michigan game pretty much for a battle of the Big Ten at the end of the season. Um, so there's arguments about, do we even play Keaton this game? Do we keep our star point guard off the floor in hopes of making sure he doesn't get injured? Uh, there's also talks. You alluded to it last podcast. You brought it up as breaking news. Tom Izzo said Jeremy Fears has to grow up a little bit. And he talked about maybe not starting Jeremy Fears. And we haven't heard anything officially, but there's talks about maybe Jeremy Fears not playing this game. I would argue, based on several instances and video evidence, that Jeremy Fears should probably be suspended. I think it should go higher to the Big Ten, and the Big Ten as a conference should probably look into these several instances that have occurred over the last two games. Notably, tripping people like Grayson Allen style. He tripped Yaxel Landenberg. He tripped Jalen Crocker Johnson. He hit Landon Jacobson in the face with an elbow. And then I think it was Landon Jacobson. He also Landon Jacobson tried to defend him from behind, and he kicked his foot up in between his legs and essentially kicked him in the crotch and described it later as a basketball play. So this isn't the Jeremy Fears Jr. podcast episode, but just right off the bat, you have to address it. And it's a little confusing to me that the Big Ten hasn't stepped in and been like, I'm glad Tom Izzo, I respect Tom Izzo, but sometimes it's a difficult situation as a coach. You want to defend your own player and you want to say hey, this is our guy. He wouldn't do anything like that. But for Tom Izzo to come out and say Jeremy Fears Jr. has to grow up a little bit, that speaks volumes to how big of an issue this has been in the last two games. I'll let you take it away from here. Thoughts on Jeremy Fears Jr. and what are the Illini going to do with him on Saturday night if he plays?
This is what I think about Jeremy Fears Jr. If you touch my Keaton, I'm going to come down there and I'm going to settle things personally. We're going to have business to take care of. That's why I'm dressed up in this outfit right now. I mean, I kind of look like the dude from The Matrix, like the bad guy, the agent.
What is his name?
I don't know if he has a name.
No, he definitely has a name. It's not Anderson, is it?
No, I think Mr. Anderson is Neo, right?
That's Neo. Agent
Smith.
Agent Smith. Yes, the Smiths.
That's me.
Yeah,
And that's what's going to happen if you touch my Keaton. I'm going to come down there Matrix style. All right. I'm gonna deal with you physically. And that's not a threat. I'm not gonna shoot him because he already has been shot. I will
Oh my
not shoot him.
goodness.
And by the way, he said that, and he got interviewed, and they're like, "What are your thoughts about, the people saying you have dirty plays?" He literally was like, "Oh, well, it's fine because I got shot and I had to deal with adversity, so it's fine." I mean, that's not word for word what he said, but go watch the interview. Sleepers made a video about it. That's essentially exactly what he said. So he's kind of weird for that. And maybe there's some beef with Illinois because his brother, because didn't his brother almost come here? And
Yeah,
then
Jeremiah Fears, who's now in the NBA for the Pelicans, I believe.
he was supposed to come here, and
Yeah.
then he wanted to come a year early, and we just didn't have any roster spots for him. And then
Well, I think if it weren't for KJ, he would have been an Illinois player, but then he ended up going to Oklahoma, and there was
But yeah,
talks
because
in the
he
offseason about
decided
him.
late. He's like, oh, I'm gonna just do, and
Well,
then we're like, we don't have any
yeah, he
spots, and it's like,
reclassified, I think. I think he
well, yeah,
reclassified.
exactly. He reclassified, and it's like, then he like
Well,
pretended like there was some beef, like, oh, Illinois didn't want me. It's like, no, bro, you just randomly reclassified for no reason.
and there was talk about him like potentially transferring to Illinois after last season because there was like he would have got I mean he got drafted, but it was like one of those things where he could come back and potentially raise his draft stock. And at Oklahoma, he wasn't going to do that. So people were like, maybe he'll
He ended
transfer to
up getting
Illinois.
drafted pretty high, didn't he? I can't remember where he got drafted.
He was definitely a first rounder. I don't know about lottery pick, but I mean, he's
I
making it
want to say it
now.
was before KJ.
I would, yeah, definitely before KJ and Will. Nonetheless, now his brother is playing for Michigan State, and that is who we will have to handle on Saturday night. Um, the whole Jeremy Fears situation has just been weird because it makes me fear that the Illini might get caught up in it. But from what we've seen from this team in the past few games, especially in road games, they don't necessarily subscribe to the hype of like a big time matchup. They just go in and, like we've said, walk in your trap and take over your trap. And I
They're the
I'm
Giant
worried.
Killers. That's their nickname this year, is the Giant Killers.
And they've always said roadkill. That's been a thing for a long time since Brad became the coach, I think. But I'm most worried. Just I'm not worried necessarily. And what's actually less stressful to me is that the fact that Keaton is so unflappable, and we've seen that in every single game. Um, but what if, like, just
Did you
God
just
for
watch the Stephen Bardo video? Because he said unflappable like 18 times in that video when he was talking
no.
about Keaton Wagler.
I mean, no, I didn't see that video, but I've used Unflappable for the last few podcast episodes,
Go
so
watch Bardo Media, everybody. He does great Illinois videos over there.
maybe Bardo's watching us and he took it from me. But
No,
nonetheless,
he did say flappable about 25 times now. I'm like, oh man, I don't even know what it means. I mean, I know what it means now. Whatever Keaton Wagler is, I guess that's what unflappable is.
Unflappable.
You can't flap him. I mean, see this?
You can't phase him. You
You
can't
can't
phase
do that to
him.
him.
You never see his emotions on his sleeve unless he hits a good play and he's looking back at his bench. But my fear in this game is not that Keaton's going to get caught up in it. My fear, and this is another storyline that I know Illinois fans and probably Michigan State fans are talking about too. My fear is that Keaton is so stoic and is having such a good game that Jeremy Fears Jr. has nothing to do besides try and make a dirty play on him and try and take him out of the game in a dirty way. And we've seen it before with Michigan State, and I don't want to say Michigan State necessarily like tried to do this, but the Ayo DeSumo season when Matty Sissoko punched him in the face or whatever, it wasn't a direct punch, but he did hack him on a drive to the lane by Ayo DeSumo. DeSumo broke his nose, and then he had a concussion and was out for a few games. And then last season, this definitely wasn't like a dirty play by anybody on Michigan State, but Morris Johnson broke his wrist. So we just have a really bad history of losing players against Michigan State. Um, and you'd hate to see it at this time of the year because this team's really coming around. Now, with Michigan State, I don't know if you did you watch their last game against Minnesota?
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm rocking a real Terminator look right now with this, with the lighting.
You
I
kind of
kind of
are.
enjoy that. Um, no, I did not watch that game, but I was rooting for Minnesota, and I was actually no, I did watch the very end of it, and I saw they were up like 20 points, like pretty much the entire game. I'm like, oh man, this is over. And then I look at my phone, and there's like 60 seconds left, and it's like a 2 point game. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I turn
That's
it on.
classic Minnesota right there.
They're so bad. So luckily. they shoot some free throws. They end up winning. Minnesota storms the court. It's like the third court storm this year for Minnesota, which is crazy. Um, that's the thing. It's like I'm happy that Minnesota won because it helps Illinois in terms of winning the Big Ten race. Kind of bumps Michigan out of it almost. But now you're going into Breslin with an angry Michigan State team. So it's like kind of pick your poison.
That was another one of the storylines I kind of wanted to talk about. Are we more worried because this Michigan State team has lost two in a row, or are we less worried? I know for a fact, like I texted you, this Michigan State team looked pretty atrocious against Minnesota. And I know they have a few players with injuries. I know they have a few players obviously in the national spotlight because of dirty play like Jeremy Fears Jr. Um, but this Michigan State team did not look good. And I haven't watched a whole lot of Michigan State, but just matchup wise, and we'll get into that in a second. I was just like, I don't think they have anybody that can guard our bigs. I think if we throw two 7-footers at them, I know they have some tall guys as well that they can shoot the three. Kohler and Koch, I think it is, or Cook, or either way, they're both bigs inside that can shoot the three as well. But
If
I've
if if Jeremy Fears does anything crazy, I think he's going to get a technical. I think the refs are really going to be looking at him close. So I think that's going to go in Illinois' favor, honestly. I think right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if this whole situation with Fears just collapses Michigan State season, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me at all. It'd be such a Michigan State thing to have happen to. But I do think that that's going to actually play to the advantage. The fact that Michigan State lost, kind of embarrassingly, and the whole Jeremy Fears thing on top of that, I think is a negative for Michigan State going into this game. And the fact that you have Illinois, who's just so hot right now. I mean, and Izzo's always had a respect for Illinois. Last year he called them like the Lakers. He said like he's like they're like the Lakers of the Big Ten. They just always win, which is really great compliment. Um,
well,
but
they are the winningest team in the Big Ten in the last 7 seasons, so.
yeah, I mean I love it. If we're the Lakers, then maybe Purdue's like the Celtics or something, or I don't know. But I think with everything that's going on, the refs are going to have the whistle in their mouth. They're going to have it ready to go. And Illinois is good at drawing fouls, so it wouldn't surprise me if Michigan State gets into some foul trouble at home. Then the crowd's going to start booing the refs, and the refs are going to, be even more inclined to blow the whistle. So it's going to be, I think, a foul fest.
I could see it definitely turning into a free throw shooting contest. As far as personnel that Michigan State has in this game, Jeremy Fears Jr., I'm sure he'll play. I don't think Tom Izzo is going to bench him for the entire game, but we'll see if he starts. Their two big men, as I was referring to as before, Jackson Kohler, he played last year, Cohen Carr, and Carson Cooper. That's kind of their front court. Cohen Carr is that like insanely athletic. Let me see how tall he is. I would say six, yeah, 6'6", but he jumps out of the gym. Um, Not the most prolific scorer just because his jump shot's kind of ass.
If
Uh,
he gets in the game, we're just putting in Blake Fagbemi, going athlete for athlete. Who's going to be better?
I would love to see a dunk contest between Cohen Carr and Blake Fagbemi. I would give it to Cohen Carr just because he's got 8 inches on Blake Fagbemi. But like pound for pound, or if you want to go inch for inch in terms of like height, I mean Blake Fagbemi's got to be up there in terms of best jumpers in the Big Ten, as far if not college basketball. Um, but yeah, Jackson Kohler, Cohen Carr, Carson Cooper, that's kind of their 1, 2, 3 punch of forwards and centers, but Carson Cooper's only, let's see here, after ESPN stops loading very slowly. Carson Cooper is 6'11", and that is their tallest like rotational slash lineup player. Jackson Kohler is 6'9", and we've got 7'2" and 7'1" Tomislav and Zvonimir. So now Divine Ogachukwu, he is probably their best 3-point shooter. He is questionable for this game, and I don't think he's going to play. He hasn't scored the most points for the Michigan State team this season, but he is their best 3-point shooter. And then we've got Kerr Tang, who unfortunately can't guard Tom Izzo's mother, so I'm not sure how much of a factor he's going to play.
That's a
So
great name, by the way. Kerr Tang.
yeah, Kurteng, Kurtang.
Yeah, that's an all-time name right
I
there.
wonder where he's from. Manchester, New Hampshire, New Hampshire. That's not where I would have guessed, but
No, that's like that sounds Chinese to me.
he's definitely not Chinese. But
I
uh,
haven't seen what he looks like. I mean, I assume that Chinese people can play basketball.
they can, yeah. I mean, there's what's his name? Yang Hansen for the Portland Trailblazers. He's going to be one of my favorite NBA players to watch in the next
The
few years.
Bull, well, the Bulls got that Japanese kid.
Yeah, Yuki.
Yeah.
Um, anyways, I want to point out what Michigan State does well because I think it's important to highlight because that'll be mostly what Brad Underwood and the Illini are looking for in their next day of practice before I mean, they probably head to East Lansing tomorrow afternoon. So maybe they'll get a practice in. But Michigan State, if you're looking at anything, they are very good defensively. Michigan State, in terms of Ken Palm, they are a top 10 team in Ken Palm at the moment. They're 46th offensively. So I'm not too worried about them scoring more than the Illini, but they are fourth best defensively in Ken Palm. They force a lot of turnovers. They rebound the ball really well. But on the opposite end of things, what do the Illini do really well? Rebound the ball and limit turnovers offensively. So this is going to be a matchup where it's like if the Illini do what they do best, I could see us beating them by 15 points. I don't see us beating them by 15 points just because it's going to be a very raucous crowd. I would argue Breslin and Michigan State has the number one home court advantage in all of the Big Ten. Um, they're just crazy every game. I don't think Izzo necessarily has pull with the refs, but it's never easy to get calls against Michigan State, especially when you're on their home court. And the Illini pride themselves at not fouling when they're on defense. So I think that could be a factor that we see at play. Um, but ultimately, this game kind of comes down to two things. Who wins the rebounding battle? And I think I like the Illini in that matchup. And can the Illini keep the game settled down to a pace and a play? You're going full Terminator, dude. You've been nonstop just mogging me for the last 5 minutes.
I've been staring at myself with this. It's just like it's
It's
a
the ring light in the one eye makes me think a laser is gonna go off or something.
dude, I just feel so badass right now.
Can you beam it at Jeremy Fears? Like, I don't like that it's right at me.
My fear beam.
But no, this game's gonna come down to, I think, if I had to predict two things, can the Illini win the rebounding battle, which we've seen them very capable of doing so all season. I wanted to point out in the last podcast, Illinois out rebounded Northwestern by a total of 50, I think, to 24. Nonetheless, I do know for a fact the Illini had more rebounds than Northwestern had points, which is absurd.
And has that ever happened before in
I'm
college
sure that
basketball? I mean,
I'm
that'd be
sure that's
insane.
happened before, but it's just
But
such a
like ever in
ridiculous
like
stat.
conference play in the Big Ten, like if I'd be actually be curious. I don't even know if ChatGPT could figure that out. Maybe it could. It's pretty smart. But maybe you talk and I'll ask ChatGPT that question.
You're gonna drain a whole village's water supply just to
Oh
answer
no,
that one
I've
question.
been generating some images on ChatGPT that just I feel like I'm killing the environment every time I generate them. Like pictures of me just like here, let me just show one really quick.
Oh goodness.
This remember folks, this is AI. This is what I do in my spare time. I mean,
No,
this
come
this
on
this is
now.
what I'm doing in my spare time.
Oh, anyways.
All right,
Um,
you talk.
no, yeah, you look up that question and I'll talk somehow after seeing that photo. Um, but once again, for the third time now, I think this game's going to come down to rebounding, and I think it's going to come down to can the Illini make the plays they have to against the defense that is Michigan State? And Michigan State, admittedly, has a very good defense, but this Illini team has gone into Nebraska, gone into Mackey, gone into Iowa. They've gone into Tennessee, which was a neutral court game, but basically in Tennessee. Um, and they've just shown they can make adjustments at the right time. They've shown that their top players can step up at the right time. And I don't know. It worries me. The biggest thing, and another storyline I wanted to throw at you, and hopefully you have the answer to this question that we were asking to, so we can jettison this conversation back to that for a second. But another storyline I'm looking at is this would be the Illini's 13th win in a row. Are we worried about this being an unlucky 13?
Okay, this is breaking news here from ChatGPT.
Oh, goodness.
There isn't a known documented example of a Big Ten team in conference game that recorded more rebounds and points. It says Michigan State did it a couple times against non-conference opponents. Dude, I'm telling you, man, that was this Illinois team this year is like breaking records. It's insane.
Well, they do it every game now, yeah.
But to answer your question, no. I mean, there's no like every time I think like, oh, it's gonna be like, oh, like we're in a tough spot. Oh, we're up against Purdue after they lost. We're up against Nebraska
Did
after they
you
lost.
did you hear the numerology of the last question I asked? I said it's unlucky 13. Are you worried about that?
We get into a lot of numerology
You
here.
do.
No, that's what I'm getting at. I don't believe in that horse poop with this Illinois team because they don't. They're first of all, they're European. They don't have the same superstitions over there, like we believe like, oh, you can't split a pole. They believe, if you stare at a horse for too long, then your grandmother might pass away. It's different stuff over there. So we couldn't possibly be affected by the same, oh, what was the thing the other day somebody was saying online? Well, and I love too the whole idea of trap games. Because usually this Illinois team does fall for these trap games, which the Northwestern game people were calling a trap game. This team, something about them, they don't fall for that garbage. They wake up, they look at who's on this calendar, they go, okay, great, let's go win a game. They're not looking at the next week. They're not looking 2 weeks ahead. Now, I will say maybe Big Z is, because Big Z does want that Merez block. He said in that video, my block
Well,
has not happened yet.
let me interrupt you here. That was another storyline I wanted to bring to this conversation. Are we sure that was about Morez Johnson Jr., or was he potentially talking about Jeremy Fears after watching the Michigan game where Jeremy Fears tripped Axel Enderberg? And I don't think Zvonimir is trying to like defend Michigan players by any means, but
That's
there's
a
a lot
good
of people.
question.
There's a lot of people in this Big Ten conference that if Zvonimir is going to target for a block, I mean he took no exceptions to Northwestern. He doesn't even have any bad blood with Northwestern, besides maybe now with Arrington Page after him and his brother uh kind of went at it, and Tommy got a technical foul. But
Hey, dude, if something happens, like that's the thing. I feel like this Illinois team is not the team you want to try to punk. Like maybe that stuff will work against Minnesota. But I just feel like this Illinois team's got too many tough European kids. They're not gonna let that stuff slide. Like, dude, if Fierce tries to trip Merck, Merck's straight up gonna step on his head. He's just gonna stomp on his head, and he's probably gonna get ejected, but he's not gonna care. I mean, Tommy's gonna trash talk. Big Z's gonna trash talk. The only one who's not gonna trash talk is Keaton Wagler and maybe Andre. I mean, well, even Andre, he's been getting a little chirpy. He's been getting a little, braggadocious, which I love it. I mean, I want all of them to. I want Jake Davis, dude. Jake Davis. I want him to punch somebody in the face. It's been too long in the season. He needs to punch somebody in the face
did
because,
you see that Jake Davis video they came out with earlier? The next
yeah,
the next
I love.
home game. I don't know who they're playing. I think it's who do they play after Michigan State? I don't know who it was, but they're giving out Jake Davis wigs for the first 200 students in the student section, which I think is incredible. And if we got our hands on some Jake Davis wigs, we would certainly have to wear those to a game.
Yeah, I mean, we could get our hands on some Jake Davis wigs. It's basically just a female blonde wig, I mean, with curly hair. But that video was pretty entertaining, and I like the fact that they're, featuring Jake Davis so much this year. It seems like he's really, having his coming out party. And I'm proud for him too, because last year everyone was just like, "Oh, Jake Davis, he's he'll be lucky to play 5, 10 minutes." It's like I always liked him, and so this year, I mean, he's starting right now, which is crazy. And if you would have said in the beginning of the season, "Oh, Jake Davis is gonna start," you were gonna think, "Oh man, we're gonna suck." But it's literally the opposite. So it's pretty impressive, and I'm actually really proud that he's finally, getting what he deserves, his flowers.
Storyline number 4 or 5 that I'm bringing up. I'm not sure if you saw it earlier, but Luca Garza was on a podcast, former Iowa center Luka Garza, um, talking about Michigan State and playing in the Breslin Center. And he said he has a conspiracy theory that Michigan State typically, or not typically, I don't know exactly how it works out, but usually the home team starts on the exact same home rim every single game, and they finish on the opposite rim for every single game. And I think it's just because where the benches are laid out, and there's a rule in college basketball where you have to play opposite side of your bench in the first half, and then it's not like football where there's like deciding which side of the field you want to defend. Anyways, Luka Garza went on to say that in the first half, he thinks the rims favor the opponents, but it's the first half of a game anyway, so you're still settling in. And then he thinks the second half rims, which every team who plays Michigan State as an away team will face these second half rims. He thinks they're adjusted a little bit so that they cannot make a bucket. And I'm not saying there's any truth to that. And if you look at the numbers, especially with Luka Garza and the Iowa teams that played Michigan State at Michigan State, they actually scored more points in the second half of games than they did in the first half. So I'm not really sure where he got his logic from. It might have just been a gut feeling, but the gut feeling kind of rings true because I remember games in Michigan State, not necessarily just in the second half, but those rims are notoriously like jank. And you hear weird noises when they hit the side of the rim. And unless it's like a dead swish, it's extremely hard for the ball to go in the rim, it seems like. I would argue Illinois and the State Farm Center have some pretty favorable rims. That might just be because it's a home court advantage for the Illini and we like shooting at home. But, we knocked down what, 17 threes last game, 18 threes, shot 45% from behind the arc. And I don't know. Do you think there's any truth to that storyline?
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, anything to get the advantage nowadays. I do wonder. I mean, I feel like that would not help the Illini because they shoot the three. I mean, if you were a team that goes for a lot of layups, tries to score in the paint, I don't think it would affect you that much. But if you're the Illini, unless you're, splashing them, then maybe that might bounce out. I don't know. I mean, this Illinois team, they tend to do pretty well in the second half no matter what. So even if their three-point shot's not falling, I think they'll be able to adjust, get the ball inside, and hopefully, use their size. Although Michigan State, they're probably pretty big. I mean, they're not as tall as Illinois, obviously, but they're probably just as, strong inside and supposedly just as good of a rebounding team. I don't know. I'll have to see that to believe it because Illinois is pretty damn good at rebounding the ball. But I mean, it's Michigan State. It's Tom Izzo. I mean, it's tough, gritty Big Ten basketball. I mean, it's going to be a close game. I would be very surprised if Illinois went in there and rolled Michigan State. And honestly, I'd be surprised if Michigan State rolled Illinois. I think it's going to be a close one, whether Illinois wins or Michigan State wins. But I've been calling this game out for a while now. This is the one I've been worried about. I was more worried about this one than at Nebraska. I was most worried about at Mackey. But this is a game that I was super worried about. I still am worried about it. I mean, it's even if Michigan State's not looking good right now at all, it's still at Breslin. It's Tom Izzo. It's tough. So it's going to take a lot from the Illini. It's probably going to take an A game from them, maybe A plus.
And that leads me perfectly into my next segment, which was going to be if it's not an A game from Keaton Wagler, because we're not going to call MVPs for Keaton Wagler. This is the segment we've so eloquently dubbed, Who is the MVP besides Keaton Wagler in this game? And honestly, I'm not sure it will be Keaton Wagler, even if there is like a standalone MVP, just because I think Jeremy Fears won't get into his head, but it's going to be a really difficult matchup in the sense that this might be the first time Keaton Wagler has walked into an opponent's arena and he's got like just haters, you know? Because we know for a fact Keaton Wagler has haters in the r/Huskers Reddit channel.
He's
Kalachi
back. Kalachi's back to his bullshit, guys.
Kalachi is for closers. Whatever his beef is with against Keaton, I've told him personally now I will send him a Keaton Wagler jersey from whichever team he gets drafted by in the top 15 next year.
top five. He was mocked today at 6, and I think he's gonna keep trending upwards. I believe he will be
I
drafted at
mean,
number
regardless,
4.
lotto pick is not a stretch. And like I said, I will send him a jersey if he gets drafted by the Wizards, if he
I'll
gets
send him a
drafted by
box of my own poop. How about that?
even better. Uh, but yeah, like that was ridiculous of him, and we don't need to go into that. But this might be the first game where Keaton Wagler, besides Kalachi is for closers, has like multiple haters, and Jeremy Fears Jr. is probably going to be one of them. So I don't know if I would predict the Keaton Wagler MVP in this game, which I actually makes me believe Keaton Wagler is just gonna score 60 or something. But I'm gonna go with the Avicic brothers again if I had to predict an MVP, just because I think their presence against uh Kohler, their presence against Cooper Koch or whatever his name is, it's gonna be so important because we're just so much bigger than them. And then if they go zone on defense, if they go man to man on defense, we're gonna give them fits. I think you can kind of get what I'm putting down from where I'm alluding to this game might go, but I want to hear your MVP predictions first before we get into score predictions, because that'll be what we finish with.
First things first, Babasic is now
Oh.
wearing the sunglasses.
Bobasich Terminator.
Bob, the Bobinator.
The Bobinator.
In all seriousness, I think MVP is going to be David Merkovich, and this is why. Something's going to happen. Jeremy Fears is going to do something stupid, and Merck's already anticipating this to be a crazy game. He's watching the videos online, he's seeing the Jeremy Fears, and then Jeremy Fears comes out today and, he says, "Oh, I didn't do anything wrong." And so if you're a Minnesota fan, if you're an Illinois fan, you're like, well, what the hell is he talking about? Yes, he did. This kid's out of his mind. So Merck's going to be going into that game with animosity. And if he does anything, I feel like Merck's just going to go goat mode. 'Cause he's the kind of player where if you give him a reason to go off, he's going to go off. And dude, I think that he might just like go full Jokic. I'm not thinking like
Who's
slam
Jokic?
dunks crazy. I'm thinking like,
Who are you
you
talking
know,
about Jokic?
yeah,
Oh, I was like, who's Jokic? Jokic.
Nikola Jokic.
Okay, I guess the Joker. Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Essentially, he is going to go GOAT mode, is my prediction. I'm thinking his stat line's going to be 25 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. And I think he's also going to have a very, very good game defensively as well.
I mean, he's been shooting the ball like lights out in the last couple of games from beyond the arc, especially. Uh, he did call himself David Rodman after letting Nick Martinelli only score 4 points against him in the last game versus Northwestern. So I very likely could see, if it's not Tomislav or Zvonimir, David Merkovich is our MVP. Now, at the moment, and I was shocked when I saw this, I think this line will swing a little bit. But at the moment, I saw the line for this game, and it's -1.5 in favor of Michigan State. Like if that that seems a little bit, I don't know, unfair to the Illini, especially given how many videos in the last day I've seen of different analysts around the country, not even just Illini fans, saying this Illinois team is the best team in the country right now. And we said that, and you've said that, but I don't even think we're the only ones that agree with that at this
I've
point.
been saying it all damn year, so that's one
Well,
thing.
yeah, but like especially right now.
Well, I think that's just what Ken Palm said. I'd be interested to see when the actual line comes out from Vegas, what it's going to
Well,
close
at the
at.
moment, if you look on ESPN, it is -1.5 for Michigan State. And the analytics give Michigan State like a 54 to 46% chance of winning this game.
I wonder what it'll be when it closes. I think it's gonna sway towards Illinois, and I think it's gonna be probably even money line when it closes.
But yeah, this is definitely going to be a pick 'em by the time it closes. But
I just honestly, if I was betting, I would bet on Illinois. I don't
Okay.
bet, but I would bet on it. I think should be the favorite. And I don't think that that was the case in Lincoln, going into Lincoln, and I don't think that was the case going into Mackey. But right now, just the way this team's rolling, they're firing on all cylinders, man. How can you bet against this team right now? Again, if they give me a reason to bet against them, then I will. They haven't given me a reason yet, so I'm not going to. I'm rolling with
Score, score
I
prediction?
I already got on the damn train last week, last episode, so I can't hop off the train now. Score prediction, I think it's going to be close, like I said. I think not going to be super high scoring based off the wonky rims. So I'm going to say Illinois 71, Michigan State 66, and again, Merck MVP besides Keaton, unless, like you were saying, Keaton might not even be the MVP. I do think he will be just because he's just so freaking good. It's insane. But apart from Keaton, Merck, I think it's going to come down to coaching. And I do think that Brad is more than capable of outcoaching Izzo. Although, I mean, obviously Izzo's an amazing coach, but just this year, Brad's moving differently. I mean, he's G'd out. He's swaggy with that outfit. He wore that crazy fit to that recruit. I mean,
Yeah, I sent you that text the other day.
he was just like a damn
It was
painter.
Nasir Anderson, the 2027 point guard, and he was dressed in the full Balkan fit with the hat and the
He had a scarf.
yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Brad's dripped out wherever he goes now.
Yeah, well, dude, this whole ball, he's riding with this Balkan thing, man. He's loving it. But yeah, that's my prediction. I think, what was it, 5 point win. So it'll be a good game though.
71-66, I think you said, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's a pretty accurate prediction. I think the Illini actually win this game by a little bit more, just based on what I saw against Minnesota. I know Tom Izzo is going to have this team ready to go, and Breslin Center is going to be crazy, but this Illini team has just shown every single time they need to win a game against a big time opponent in a hostile environment. They never seem to be too scared. In fact, they seem to like relish these opportunities because it just gives them another opportunity to like take a bus ride home and like blast music on a boombox. So I think they almost prefer to play
I
like
think this
on the
team genuinely hates losing. Like when they lose, it really like makes them sad. Like they
they
get
haven't
bummed out.
do they remember how to lose? Like they
Because
haven't lost
then
in
they lose, and then I guarantee you they're not playing the music on the bus. They're not,
when
like
this
when
game is played, Noah, it'll be a whole like 60 like nearly it'll be
When DePaul basketball loses, it's like, all right, fellas, we'll get him next time. But when Illinois basketball loses, it's like somebody call the suicide hotline. David Mirkovich is missing right now. We don't know where he's at. Someone find him. He's on top of a parking garage, ass naked, like, I'm gonna jump. It's like, no, Merk, you can play in the next game. It's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna jump.
Merc, no, we need you. We need you. Please don't kill yourself. Um, no, but it's almost been 2 months since they've lost a game. And I'm gonna go with the score prediction. I like 71-66. I'm gonna extend it a little bit. I think Illinois wins 74-63. 11 points. I think it is close. I think this is one of those games, once again, where Michigan State's probably winning by 4 or 5 at halftime, and we see some adjustments. And I think Keaton probably has 6 points going into the first half, like into the tunnel at first half, at the end, at the first half break or whatever you want to call it. Halftime. I think that's what they call it so eloquently. Um, 6 points, and then Keaton just comes out in the second and he scores
We
24.
started that, by the way. We started calling it halftime here at Chillinois basketball. So
Yeah, we've called it halftime since the beginning. But yeah, my score prediction is going to be, you said 71-66. I'm going 74-63, 11-point win by the Illini. The 13 in a row scares me. 13's always an unlucky number for me at least, but my dad loves 13 because he was born on February 13th. And I think they get it
Well,
done this
the
time.
dude in the comments, let us know because I'm pretty sure I remember hearing something about in numerology, 13 is actually a lucky number in some like cultures or something. I don't know. We got a numerology guy. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, you and him are best buddies because you were both really into that. But I'm going for the record.
Okay, you've said it 14 times already. We
Well,
don't
I
need the
keep I keep
prediction.
basing it off of what you said, and you said 71-66, so I'm going 74-63. 74-63. You heard it here.
You
And I
heard
was
it here for
really
the
close.
third
I was
time.
really close against Northwestern. So if I predict this, that'll be pretty crazy. Um, well, you've heard the predictions, you've heard the MVPs.
And one more time, that prediction was 71 to 66 and 74 to 63.
Thank you for re-clarifying for the fourth time now. This game's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's Saturday night. It's 7 p.m. and it's Fox Sports. I love that spot for the Illini because I usually hate whatever middle of the day game Fox Sports gives them. Um, I will say I know we got the rob the bank thing wrong because that was about Pinnacle Bank, but this feels like a rob the bank game if we're talking about it in the sense that like this is house money. So let's go in to Breslin Center and East Lansing, Michigan and rob the fucking bank. What do you think, Noah?
Yeah, we're gonna rob the Brez.
Rob the Brez. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
And we're
ILL.
gonna we're gonna we're gonna one-on-one Dorothy Izzo basketball.
I mean, if we blow them out of the water, they might need to get Dorothy Izzo in there for defense anyways. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to this matchup nonetheless. If the Illini lose this one, I still think it's going to be a great game. Um, just the quality of basketball that they've been able to play, win or lose, and I can't say lose because they've won their last 12 in a row, but it's been so much fun to watch, and I'm glad we get another one on Saturday night and another top 10 ranked matchup. Just looking forward to it, and we'll see how the Illini deal with Jeremy Fears, and hopefully they go with zero fears into the Breslin Center and knock them off. But ILL, we will find out on Saturday night.
I and I.